You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Okay, going live. Fingers and toes crossed. Let's see how it goes. That's all that up and running.
Better put mute.
Oh my god. Right, just let me know when I am.
Cool. Adverts are on.
Adverts are on. Keep forgetting about that, but good, I guess. I'll just get
We've got 15 people waiting.
My goodness. Get the dubstep out of the way before we start.
Sorry.
That's alright. Don't worry. It's just sneezes. You can't help sneezing. Do you reckon we're live?
Oh man, I can skip ads. Wait a minute.
Oh my god.
Yes, you're live.
Hey, we are live. Okay. Well, hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this weirdly rainy and miserable afternoon. I don't know, some of you guys are saying that it's morning where you are, so I hope you're enjoying this with your cup of coffee or your cup of tea in the morning. Some of you were saying that the stream is starting at 3 AM for you, so I mean, that's dedication. Thank you very much for turning up at 3 AM or staying up until 3 AM. Either way, sorry to disrupt your sleep schedules for my convenience, but I'm glad you're here. It's a nasty day here, so it's nice to cuddle up and be warm and do something nice and nerdy and indoors. It's like one of those little rainy days at school when you weren't allowed to go to the playground. So last time I asked my patrons what they thought of the stream and if they'd like to do something different with this month's stream, and people liked the making an NPC thing, but I put it in a poll and there was a huge surge of votes for doing a monster instead, a la a Monster Monday. So what I thought we could do, in a second I'm going to thank my patrons and things like that, but I thought what we could do is make a monster together. We're going to make the stats and everything like that, or rather I'm going to put those stats up on D&D Beyond, just like we did with Darla last time, the NPC. And I would like your suggestions in the comments for what type of creature we're doing for a start. We're going to do a few different tables and roll randomly on these tables. So what type of creature for a start? So like, are we talking a demon, a devil, an undead, a monstrosity, an aberration, you know, whatever seems to suit. We'll roll on the table and find out what type of creature, and that'll largely inspire what kinds of decorations and stuff I put on this creature. Humanoid, you know, whatever. Types of creatures, totally up to you. We'll pick 4 of the most, like, you know, 4 that come up in the comments quite a lot. Then I want to hear some monster parts. You should be able to see on the screen here that pig is in there, and that is because I talked to one of my patrons, Raptor Dio, the other day, and unfortunately they weren't going to be able to join us, but they were very excited about the stream, and they keep pigs. And I met Jellybean, his pig, and she was very cute, and he said, all I ask is, if I can't be there in the stream, can pigs be a part of this thing? So there's a chance that pig parts might come up as one of the random monster bits. And finally there's a table as well for abilities, what this creature can do, just interesting stuff while we're, you know, drawing and discussing what this monster might be able to do. I'd like to hear your suggestions for, like, what powers, you know, can it breathe fire, can it fly, you know, all this kind of stuff. Anything that seems weird and interesting that might fit the creature, I want to hear your ideas of, basically. And so if you leave those in the comments, Yvonne is right there next to me, and she's going to be reading those out, and we'll stick some of these in the table and then roll on them when the time is right, basically.
Well, we already have a few suggestions.
Oh,
Would you like to add those now, or
maybe once I've just had a thank you, given a thank you out to my patrons, if that's cool?
Of course.
As well, it goes without saying that I'm immensely thankful for you guys just being here in the first place. But some of you are my patrons over on Patreon, and I wanted to do a huge shout out and a thank you to all of my patrons who make my whole channel possible and pay me for this work and the awesome stuff that we get to create together. This month, there are an awful lot of you. There is Alex Lai, Colby Monroe, who I saw was in the comments, so welcome Colby, Matthew Anderson, Raptor Dio, Duck Quack, Jonathan Foster, Nap in Camo, Benjamin Colburn, Yorick Beast, Ethan Dibby, Skyrush Soul, Nathan Stratton, Amanda and Jake Westfall, Ken Doman, Peter Balfe, Brian H, Tim Klemer, Steve Harrison, Dan Waterman, Styrax, It's Just Avi, Sam Hickson, Brandon Kerr, Bork Boulderbender, Darth Caetana, Trevor Traub, Max Schluter, Tamerling, Max Copeland, Dominique Jolly, AJ, Oliver Thorvald Melloch, Aldrin, Christian Palmer Smith, Jacob Resler, Ryan Grotkow, Ragnar Bearson, Jared Moore, Damien, Rose Selavy, Nicholas Brown, Daniel Williams, Bronwyn Haller, Megan Myrick, Inquisitor Thomas, Doombot9, you had a Jorge? Is UHDAAJORGE. However you pronounce that. You're here. Terrell Wilder, Dean Root, Luke Kamek, Janessa, Michael Wingard, Denny Scalf, Rappletech, Casually a Robot, Bootsy, Lucas, Rory Gladstone, Grant Train, The Little Moth. Is that us? I have gone back into some of these. Aldrin, did I mention Aldrin? Yeah, I've taken several photos of the same people over and over again, unfortunately. So, thank you all so much for your support. I'm sorry if I didn't reach you because I confused myself, but hopefully that's a thank you to everybody, and I really do mean that. So, thank you so much for helping me to create this stuff that I really love doing. So, yeah. Do we have any fun suggestions?
Yeah, we've got quite a few. So there's a few shout outs for plants.
Oh, okay. That's a nice idea. I haven't had that in a long time.
Yep, so that will keep it.
Let's get the HB on there. Plant, okay.
A demon devil hybrid. So
why not?
Demon devil.
Do fiend I'll put as a because there's not much space. Fiend of some kind.
Construct has got a couple.
Oh, construct, okay.
Dragon.
Yeah, dragon, okay.
Just beast.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that cover quite a lot?
That covers quite a lot of things. I would, yeah.
Do you want it to be a bit more specific?
No, that's cool. I mean, that's the top 4, unless there's any other things that.
We've got Fae.
Oh, Fae.
It's specifically like something that walks the line between Fae and undead, such as a Dullahan.
Ooh, okay.
Dullahan or Banshee.
Okay. I'll stick. We can make this a D6. So Fae sounds pretty cool.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Have you got any suggestions for what you'd like to see? Peg is popular. That's another dragon. Spider. You can never have too many spider parts. I don't know if that person knows how terrified of spiders you are. A woodwode.
Okay, that's a specific creature, I think.
Woodwode whose ritual wasn't completed, so half plant, half undead.
Okay,
Which is
I'm hearing some calls for undead. So why don't we do? So we've got a D6. I think we'll leave it at 6 types of creature, but like get various parts as things go along. So like we've got pig and spider as part of our D10 here of various monster parts.
Right.
I think I'll put dragon down as well because that's been coming up quite a lot. You know, like specific bits. Because my plan is to basically draw. You know, I'll draw like the head. I'll sketch the head out, and we'll roll a D10 for like. We're using like some dragon bits here and you know all this kind of stuff. Any other monster parts before we get started?
Let's just give everybody a few minutes to catch up because I think we're roughly about 30 seconds ahead. Okay,
in which case if people have time to just make up a few more suggestions, why don't we roll our D6 and find out what type of creature we're drawing?
Cool.
Yeah.
What type of creature?
Yeah.
We've got maybe monstrosity, Fae / undead. Suggestion again. Tardigrade.
Oh, tardigrade's a good call. Yeah. This is
Oh, so creature bits. Steve Harrison says at least one compound die.
One compound die.
That's like a fly's eyes compound die.
Oh, compound eye. I was hearing, like, I'm so tuned into D&D, I was like, compound die. I was like, I don't know. What's a compound die? what? How have I been a DM for this long and not rolled one of those? And that's a good idea.
Snake parts.
Okay.
Lamprey is pretty cool because that immediately puts everything. Minring, you're going to have to remind me what the easier way of saying that monster is, because...
Yeah, there was an easier one, wasn't there? Do you want me to have a look? Because I can't
was
remember.
it like
We figured it out.
It was a devil something, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, God, what's it called? Yeah. It's like this devil shark or something. But, yeah.
Dinosaur parts.
Okay, that sounds cool. Dinosaur pants is also very cool.
Dinosaur pants, yeah. Group says, may I suggest that we go at D8, and if you get an 8, it's 2 creature types.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
Wyvern tail.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wyvern's its own kind of creature, though. Maybe like scorpion tail.
Tail. Well, what kind of tail is?
Yeah, wyverns have like their own kind of thing. It's like dragon meets scorpion. I guess is like the closest thing. So if we put scorpion. I tell you what. Why don't I change spider to arachnid in general, and then we can cover both of those things.
Okay.
Because people hate me.
Oh, that's quite cool. I came up with. Oh, the chat's moving. I came up with something called the rose dragon. That's a plant that mimics the look of a dragon to protect itself. That's quite cool.
That's really cool. There's if you get a chance. Matthew Coville launched a book called Strongholds and Followers, and in that there are some really amazing, like actually fun fey creatures at high levels. And there's an Oleander dragon, which is just like similar sort of idea, like plant dragon, fey dragon, really fun to use. Highly recommend it if you're looking for inspiration for like floral dragons.
Cool, we've got some more parts suggested.
Okay,
now.
yeah, we've got room for 2 more.
So I'll read a few out and you can
pick. I'll pick.
So we've got fins.
Okay, fins.
Tree like a redwood. Crab claws. Given we just watched, was it Thunder Force?
Hell yeah, I'm straight in there with
Has anyone else watched
crab.
that?
Oh yeah, Thunder Force was so much fun.
Armadillo parts could be interesting. Tendrils or oozing winds. Are you sure you don't want to make this a D100s?
I do want to make this a D100. This is the thing. Like we're just.
Oh, it's a demon ray. Or devil ray, that's what
okay, devil ray. Okay, so we've got lamprey, so that'll count.
Instead of arms, it has wings, bat wings specifically, a beak, maybe a modron, the beak of a shoebill.
Oh, okay. You know, we don't have any birds of any kind on here.
Yeah, maybe some like bat wings or bird wings could be quite cool.
Yeah. Why don't we say? I don't want to just put wings down.
A mole nose. That's very cute.
Mole. That. You know what? Mole's going on there.
The tiny eyes of a mole.
That's so cute. Have we got one more creature type, and then D8? The 8 can be like another part. You know, the suggestion was like a fusion creature. So is there monstrosity? Let's do that. Let's do monstrosity.
Peacock, pelican, crustaceans instead of a crab specifically. That's good. That keeps it
that's
open.
true. Yeah, I can't spell crustacean though. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that dirty. Bloody dyslexia. Let's Google that.
I'll spell it out too if you want.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
CRUST.
Yeah.
ACEANS.
There we go. Okay. We'll do.
Dragon wings would be cool.
Yeah.
A gnome. Someone's coming at you with gnome again.
Is it Rory?
It's not Rory. It's Moonring. Hello, Moonring.
Right. Okay. Right. So let's do the creature type first. Let's find out what kind of creature we're doing here. So, do you have a D8 that you can roll?
I can get you one in a second.
Cool.
Alright, 7.
7 is a monstrosity. Okay, that works very well for the hybridized creature. So we are doing a monstrosity. And let's get started with a D10 roll as well for my first part. So I'm going to make this part of the head.
That's a 4.
A 4. So we've got a tardigrade head. Oh man, this is going to be weird already. Okay. Alright, let me just get a tardigrade up so I'm not just drawing an actual belly button. Tardigrade.
They're cute. They're like kind of like little bears or something.
Yeah, they're like water bears. Or, I mean, it's a funny look. Right, okay, let's do this. Tardigrade gives us a lot of limbs as well, so I'm going to just like sketch out a loose tardigrade body. It's just a sea potato with like lots of claws and stuff. This is going to be.
There's some calls for it to have plant parts.
Okay, we can work on plant
I feel
parts.
like you could add that in.
It seems like a fun way to go about things. How the hell am I going to draw just like this stumpy little face?
It's a microscopic head.
just no. If you zoom right in, you can see it. I'm thinking of making this like a decently sized tardigrade, like a tardigrade on our scale rather than just microscopic. But that is absolutely brilliant. Oh my god. Okay. Let's see. What are their teeth like? Is that those little? I'm gonna have fun with that. Okay. Right. This is gonna be such a weird creature. We're not going to be very well respected in the D&D community, guys. I just want to be honest with you. Like, if we made a fishy null last time, and this time we're making a tardigrade potato monster. And it's on you. Like, you need to take responsibility for the mutants you make me draw.
Oh, the tardigrade is known as a water bear.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I've heard known that somewhere in the deep recesses of my brain. They're cute though.
Yeah, they are.
There's not many cute microscopic things, I think.
No, that is true. That is true.
They're also called moss pig.
Oh,
that's nice. Yorick says maybe it can have eyes running on the side of eyes, or like maybe down the side or something.
Oh yeah, okay. How many legs does this thing have? 1, 2, 3. It has 4 sets of legs.
Oh, this is cool. Goop says, perhaps if the tardigrade is translucent, you could have plants growing on its back with the roots visible through the torso.
Ooh, I do like that very much. Okay. So, it has no discernible visible eyes to me that I can make out. But, I'm liking the general... This is our general tardigrade shape. Alright, we're going to make this nice little wrinkly boy at some point. Why don't we go ahead and go for a new body part? Because I've got lots of arms here to start drawing.
Devin says the D&D community just doesn't know quality monsters when they see them. Colby says, I will take no responsibility for creating beautiful monsters and respect through fear. Right, so another D...
Yeah, give me a D10.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, another 4. So I roll again?
Yeah, roll another 4. Otherwise we're just drawing a tardigrade.
9.
9, okay. Crustaceans! Okay, right. So we get to have... Oh, man. This is going to be horrible. Right. I want to give it crab claws, but also the idea of a tardigrade on really long, like, spider crab legs is in my brain now. You know what? We'll just do the claws for now, and we'll do some other legs.
Yeah, if anyone has any crustacean elements that they want to suggest.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Right, okay.
That's true. Moonring says, I mean, one of the most famous D&D monsters is an owlbear, which does sound like it's been rolled randomly, right?
It totally does, yeah.
Or the flump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone was having a really strange day when they invented flumps. Okay, let me actually get proper crab claws.
Oh, that's cool. If they do plants, maybe they could have a pollen area of effect attack.
Ooh.
It could blind or stun. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Right, so hermit crab shell, big lobster arms, big meaty claws. Arrow crabs are cool, or peacock shrimp. I'm gonna have to Google this because I don't know what those.
Oh, peacock shrimp are really cool. They're the ones that like essentially shoot things with weaponized light.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That is a psychedelic nightmare.
Oh yeah.
That actually looks like one of your illustrations. Like,
yeah.
you know, it's got your colour scheme going
Something's
on.
finally got one of my colour palettes. How flexible are they? They're pretty flexible actually. They can bend in all sorts. Okay.
Yeti crab claws could be freaky if it was moss covered. That's quite cool.
There's a lot of cool for the plants.
Yeah, if you're doing plants, you could add in some moss elements as well. That would be quite cool.
They are moss piglets, so yeah, let's
Oh, you could give it the claw of the pistol shrimp so that it can cause great shockwaves.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do a tiny. So this claw needs to be much smaller in that case, and this claw needs to be significantly larger. Maybe I want to do that the other way around, so then we can see the other legs a bit more easily.
Peeper My Jeeper says, do all the legs but make them end in pig hovels.
Oh.
Is that what pig feet are called?
Hooves.
I think we usually call them trotters here, but
Yeah.
pig hovels
That's cute.
is quite cool. Let's see.
What we got.
Oh, Colby actually found the Arcane Forge channel through the Flump video.
Oh really? No way.
And you stayed around.
Oh.
No, actually, your Flump is pretty cool. The original Flump is quite.
Yeah.
I was quite shocked when I seen what you were. The original one was, yeah.
Spaghetti beast. Let's see.
Steve Harrison says, just realised we're going to have to put a curly pig's tail on this or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is going to get interesting.
Yeah, this is going to get real
Have
weird,
you
guys.
a number in your mind of how many times you're rolling this, or are you just going to get to every time you want to add a new element?
I think every time I want to add a new element, because I want to keep it like somewhat limited after this. I'm going to do a little pistol shrimp tiny claw right now, because he's got his big claw there. And I think just like another one for the legs would be a good call.
Goop says, what intelligence are we thinking for this fellow?
I don't want to burden this with too much intelligence. It's
dumb enough to not realise how horrific it is.
Yes, yeah, that's what we're looking for. So we've got like some plant life going on, and you want some like roots and stuff growing out of this thing.
Or through it, I think was the suggestion, because it's translucent.
Yeah, that's true.
Just to make everything really easy for you, you have to make it translucent as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, pig feet. Sorry, yeah.
Right.
Might have been an autocorrect thing.
Let's roll another d10 to find out what legs I'm giving this thing.
Right. Okay, I shall roll again then. Another d10. So 1.
We are getting pig feet.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Right. Okay. Let's just make sure I'm doing pig feet correctly. Okay. Let's do pig.
Very, very smart but incapable of expressing itself would be fun. Joe says Sherlock level intelligence. I think that's pretty cruel. That's pretty cruel.
That's incredibly cruel.
A water-based plant creature could be fun. Could maybe have algae or seaweed growing from the monster in a symbiotic relationship.
Do you guys run a lot of water campaigns? It's a lot.
He should have all of the intelligence. Yeah.
Why are you like this? What? I thought we had a nice, nurturing, fun community. Or have you saved all your niceness for chatting with me, and then outside of the game you're just monsters?
Yorick suggests that it could be some sort of storm giant skin parasite, which is cool.
Oh my god.
Intelligence of 30, understands all languages but cannot speak. Oh, why do you hate him so bad? He's just a watery bear boy.
There's a horrific book called I Have No Mouth But I Must Scream, and it's about a robot at the end, an artificial intelligence at the end of the world that keeps humans alive just to torture them. And I'm thinking you guys have been inspired by this, maybe?
Oh, okay. That's the point. Are we rolling for size?
I think this is going to be a fairly large creature. When I heard monstrosity, I heard monstrosity. Like,
okay.
Like,
are you talking about crushing cities kind of monstrosity,
oh
or
God. No,
like
I was thinking more along the lines of like direwolf size.
direwolf? Okay.
But I mean, I could be outvoted on that. Excuse me. That's not on the
Moonring says should we come up with some lore for our crab pig boy? I think
Yes,
we should.
yes, we should. And some abilities as well while I start drawing this, because we've got got crab pig. Should we stick a tail on there?
Of course.
Yeah.
Get that curly little tail going.
I mean, I think we should roll a d10.
Oh, sorry.
Another d10 and find another thing. As long as it doesn't land on 5, and then we put compound eyes on the back of this.
Right. Let me just catch you up on some of the comments first before we roll again. It could following the spore effects. It could also do a hiding effect, like invisibility within the spores or while in water. So that's pretty cool. That's true. Golby says y'all are assuming that this tardigrade creature species doesn't love themselves and their body. Yeah, sorry.
That's very true.
Stop body shaming this
That's
guy.
very true.
Could be a swamp ambush predator.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The thing could be an elder brain predator.
Okay. Yeah.
Or this is the final survivor of the aboleth resurgence.
Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Tiny size. I can see this guy basking in mud pools in a bog.
Oh.
Devin suggests a lobster tail. Let me see. Right, that says up. So you want me to roll another d10 for a tail?
Yes, please. I'm putting like a little plant on this thing's back, like a Pokemon, because I feel like if that's where the spores are going to come out, then we
I actually just rolled a 5, which is the compound eye.
Are you kidding
You jinxed
me?
it.
Are you kidding? I can't put eyes on this thing.
Do you want me to roll again?
Yeah, please. I would really appreciate that. I have to step in.
Rolled a
every now
1
and
again. What's that?
That's pig.
Pig.
So it does
Okay,
have a pig's
pig
tail.
tail.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. That's cool. Let's do it.
I like the idea of giving this thing some sort of shell and making it a tanky monster. That's cool.
I feel like it's literally a moss piglet at this point, minus the crab claws. So we have this beautiful plant opening up, and then I've got to somehow figure out how I'm going to make this thing semi-translucent and have vines and that going through it. But we'll come to that when we come to that. I think
this is Bulbasaur's disowned relative.
yeah, this is Disservisaur. Okay, we can start adding line work to this thing. I'm so sorry.
Are you happy with it as it is, or do you want to roll any further elements? You're like, no, no.
What kind of beast are we making? I mean,
are you happy with that?
Yeah, I think I'm. I mean, happy with that is a term, isn't it? Do the community have any suggestions to kind of tie this together? I've heard some shells being thrown around that might work. Maybe if we make them out of bark and things might be a good idea. I don't know, but otherwise, I think. We don't want to add too much to this creature, otherwise it just becomes noisy,
Maybe it has gas bladders inside it. If it's a swamp creature, those legs would sink into the mud.
Yeah.
But with a bit of lift, they could propel themselves quickly. And maybe it has a gas spore attack because of these bladders. That's cool.
That's a nice idea. Yeah, I like the sound
I
of
think this creature definitely lives in the Underdark, presumably in the subterranean rivers and oceans. That's cool.
Yeah.
He is a transmutation wizard that was trying to find a way of polymorph, but with the variations in parts he got stuck like this.
Yeah.
Explains the 30 intelligence. Amazing. So we've got a bit of the fly situation going on kind of thing.
Oh my god.
Maybe have coral on its back.
Oh, coral's a nice idea. Although I'm trying to shy away from. We did a fish creature last time.
Okay.
I think we should really try and do something different each time. Yeah, no, I'm happy.
You're happy with that?
Is there any chance you would let Myrtle out because she's locked herself in one of the rooms?
Oh,
she's going to be just
I
hammering
wonder
away
what she's
at that.
doing.
Yeah, the doors automatically close, and Myrtle has gone into a room and has upset herself by locking herself away in, I think, our bedroom, if I'm honest. But yeah, Thank you for your suggestions so far in making this horrific creature.
She wanted me to bring the bed through.
I see, that's what it was. She wants to sit soft. Yeah. So I think it's really just down to like colours and powers and backstory and stuff now, really, while we're drawing away at this.
With the gas attack, it probably causes either confusion or psychedelic effects on the adventurers, or poison and paralysis.
Ooh, interesting call.
Maybe bark, shell, and some plants for camouflage in swampy environments.
Mm-hmm.
Could nurgle it up, which I like as a phrase, and have it covered in pustules and whatnot, so it triggers spores wherever the creature attacks it.
That's so grim.
I
think if we'd rolled aberration, then that would 100% be going in.
Oh, and Steve Harrison says the only clue is the tiny tattered pointy hat caught on the rim of the shell if he's the wizard.
Oh, that's very cute.
He should have resistance to cold and fire damage, since water bears don't care.
Yeah, they do not. They are utterly pretty much immortal.
If it's in the underdark, maybe replace the plant with a mushroom, which is a good point.
That's a very good idea.
It could be like a pet or livestock for the myconids.
Oh, that's a really nice idea. Their kind of version of cattle.
I think there's something seriously wrong with Steve, because he says he's not horrific, he's cute.
Yeah, give it time, Steve. Give it time. I've only just started to work on this thing, but yes, he's got some cute to him.
Colby says, I think a stasis feature definitely makes sense, as tardigrades can go into stasis if they enter an environment that isn't suited to them.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
They've been sent into the vacuum of space and they still survived.
Excellent.
Quite amazing.
Yeah.
Goop says, going off the gas orbs, what if it used them to boost into the air and it hunts airships, popping their balloons with its claw. Like pooping its balloons?
Yeah.
Popping its balloons with its claw.
I think that sounds great.
Steve says he retracts his cute statement now. It has a lamb-free mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing with that mouth is cute. Yeah, absolutely.
It's the folds really are an interesting feature. Excuse you, Myrtle? Who are you growling at?
The ghost.
I believe, yeah. You've obviously got a ghost or something, because I know my dog is not that rude. Thank you, Myrtle. Honestly, almost called you your surname as well. That's when you know you're in trouble. It's the folds of skin that is like a really weird thing to be drawing, I guess, on an animal. It's not something you often get, like rhinos and things. I guess you get folds. They're more like armor really with a hippo, aren't they? With a rhino, sorry.
So that's Colby's sort of seconding the idea of it being myconid cattle.
Yeah.
So I think we could maybe.
I think that's a nice idea.
Yeah.
We could definitely.
Joe says she's growling at the folds, and he doesn't blame her.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is very fair.
She's just jealous because she always likes to be the one with the most folds in her.
Yeah, my little wrinkly walnut dog.
This is quite cool. Frostmute says, perhaps the airship popping is by accident, like it latches on for some kind of food or confused mating.
Oh my god, oh yeah, no, that's absolutely brilliant. I love that. That's a really great idea.
Colby says, or even being myconid farm plots where the myconids use the backs of these creatures to grow sensitive mushrooms.
Ooh, that's a really cool idea. Okay, yeah, definitely mushrooms 100% going on the back. I like that a lot. That's something that would tie this creature nicely.
Just mean it has room to stretch around.
Exactly, yeah. You wouldn't want to, reach up for something high up and then tear yourself in half. This is just,
York says it reminds me of the ultimate version of the Juggernaut, with its singular eye.
Oh, right. Oh, yes, I know what you mean. Yeah. In Ultimate Comics, there's the Juggernaut has a very different costume to what he does elsewhere. Let's try and I feel like it's interesting planning this because like the carapace that goes onto crab arms and the soft foldy skin of the tardigrade means like, is this going to be like stuffed into the crab arms like a kind of roughly puffy coat? It's hard to think about, but it's interesting as well.
Icarus says it could be an experimentation a wizard did on a tardigrade because they were hearing about the colloquial term moss pig and then threw out the excess into the Underdark where the Myconids domesticated them.
Yeah, that's a really nice idea.
Origin story there.
Yeah, it's a nice reason for them to be. I like that kind of thing when you have owlbears and so on. There's a lot of little origin stories that seem to make sense, and it's kind of, they're now part of the ecosystem, you know. Wood elves use them in certain rituals and things like that, so it's nice to have a few interesting origin stories that could potentially have been lost to time.
Moonring is suggesting that Myrtle's mad because you're stealing her artwork again.
I am, yeah. I'm sorry. She's actually under the table here. I'm not, you know,
she's piloting you.
Hands free, yeah. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Sorry about the April Fool's joke, guys. You're all. There's a lot of people saying like, it's not even April here yet, and I'd totally forgotten about the time zone difference. But gotcha.
Oh yeah, maybe it could double as a growing plot, but the claws are siege weapons.
Ooh.
Oh, Aldrin's just joined us. Says, "Oh God, what have I joined into?"
Yeah, Aldrin, this is in your absence. It's gotten very strange. We rolled for monster parts, and we've ended up with a partial mushroom, tardigrade, crab, pig monster. So you're welcome. It's gonna be one of those days.
York says, you know, while I'm watching this, I'm also watching a live stream of a page of my Star Wars and Transformers crossover.
Oh, that's nice.
Comic being drawn. That's cool.
Good. Getting lots of
like
live
a
streams
combination.
Yeah, definitely. Nowhere is safe from all the weird hybridization.
Steve says it's interesting how lining the drawing made me go from "oh, it's a cute little boy" to "get it away from me."
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, I'm seeing in my head the line work and I'm just sketching around it. So, you guys have done this to me. This is, you know, feel bad. This is in my brain. You guys only visit it. I have to live in here.
Oh, Joe. It says, I feel like the monster manual should also give a tastiness stat for each monster.
No,
but you can't
not.
tell me this guy wouldn't taste great as a stew.
Again, I'm vegan, man. I'm not eating any horrible tardigrade crab beast. This is why there's a fantasy reason for going vegan, so you don't have to. So you do not specifically have a tastiness scale in the monster manual. You monster.
Oh, that's a good point. We should give it a ranged option.
Oh yeah.
Although I think maybe the spores would
there's some
cover
spore-based
that.
attacks. And also, if it's got this massive claw, the whole pistol shrimp thing is to shoot the water. So maybe it has like an ability, as long as it's near water, to fire out like a kind of shock wave. But yeah. You know what? I'm actually kind of liking it. Like, it's horrible. Don't get me wrong. You guys have still created a monster, but it's not the least cohesive thing that I've ever thought of. I thought it was going to be much weirder than this. And I mean, it is weird, but it's coming together.
Is it vegan to eat the mushrooms that grow off the back of a creature?
That's an interesting point. So I don't know. I think basically the answer is, if I didn't eat mushrooms, what on earth would I be eating? So I'm going to say I'm going to go ahead and say that's vegan. Although, like, myconids probably still shouldn't eat a myconid. Although I bet they make great soup. Yeah, okay. Going to make a really massive looking claw here, which we can put some nice moss on. So I'm trying to give it some interesting texture for moss to cling to. make it look like a nice, horrifying weapon that would stop most people from farming it. But Myconids, they know what they're about. They've been around in the Underdark for
That's
enough.
a good point. Miguel says it should have regeneration.
Yes, definitely.
Be able to let those claws go and regrow them.
Yeah. It's, the whole tardigrade thing is about survivability, isn't it? So we want to make sure these guys are functionally immortal.
Right, hang on. I'll be back in a second.
No worries, no worries. I will keep drawing horrible tardigrade bits. I'm looking forward to getting to the powers of this thing and putting it up on D&D Beyond. We had someone comment on the actual D&D Beyond article the other day when I put the Hagen up, going like, this is neither a hag nor a dragon. Why is it called a Hagen? And it was just, it's like, just watch the channel, man. Like, we make some real weird stuff here. Sorry, not sorry. Let's see how that's getting on as a silhouette. It's looking pretty good. It's a bit front heavy, but you know, I imagine he can kind of shamble around on this massive pistol shrimp claw, and that's why he's going to prefer being in water to being on land, I guess, or being in space. Maybe it's a space exclusive creature. I've got these really lumpy, wrinkly pig feet to put in now, so that's going to be delightful, I guess. See how this goes. See how my pigfoot drawing skills are. It's turning out way more muscly than I thought it was going to be. This is just getting into unsettling territory. Also hooves on a tardigrade. I'm hoping it wouldn't puncture itself. Well, I suppose it's got crab claws to contend with, so that's really your puncturing power, isn't it?
Alright, let's see.
What else have we got in here?
Where did I leave?
Metal making some pig noises in the background, just so we have the full effect.
If you eat a Myconid, you're going to have a really interesting day, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Thunderclaw, the gross pig-footed fungus crab tardigrade has come to complicate Josh's inner world. Right, the pig part that is all pink, green with moss in it. You're re-asking about colours.
Oh yeah. It's going to be difficult to do if it's translucent, but we'll see.
Right. Oh, Moonring's made a donation and asks, did you look at the Mirage Dragon, no wings? Right.
I saw your suggestion for it, and I'm looking forward to it being something that my patrons can vote on. But I've not actually taken a look at its stats or anything like that yet. But thank you for that. I like any wingless creature is automatically made it quite far in my book, because I hate drawing wings and I love drawing dragons. So yeah, definitely a fan of the sound of it.
Okay, I have no idea what this means, but I'll just read it out.
Yeah.
This definitely seems like a creature you'd find in the Phlogiston of Spelljammer.
Oh yeah, okay.
Did I say that right?
Yeah. The Spelljammer is a fantastic setting. I'm still waiting for Spelljammer to get a 5th edition sort of version, if that makes sense. I feel like we're overdue that. Hopefully it's something not just lost to the annals of time.
Oh, the pistol shrimp claws could be used as to help it escape the pressure blast to make it jet off.
Oh, that's a nice idea. Why is my pen not drawing?
Oh, Goop's got to get back to work.
Okay,
but we'll be back later.
Wonderful.
Have fun with this lovable cosmic horror.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much. Cheers for joining us, Goop.
Devon says white and pale greens would work well for the colour scheme.
Oh yeah, that's a very
yeah,
nice
I
idea.
think a sickly green might be quite good.
Yeah, definitely. I'm now starting to add the fungus to this creature, or at least planning to, and that's already making for a little unsettling.
Brixonian says maybe the pig feet have a similar texture to the crab parts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can picture that. Give me 1 second, guys, because I've been finding that my drawing equipment is having a bit of a hard time actually drawing it on the tablet. So I'm just going to change the nib over.
Right. Moonring says the next live stream we should draw a winged gnome.
No.
See, now you've said that you don't like gnomes and spiders. Every month it's going to be like
just gnomes and spiders.
Giant spiders with gnome features.
honestly, get no respite.
Aldrin is asking how are the class shirts coming along.
Very good. That's a little cheeky sneak peek that my patrons got, is that I'm making some merch, and I'm working on t-shirts for each of the D&D classes, which I'll be releasing a video on the first one next month, and that is the Wizard, and I'm very pleased with that. I got my sample come through, and it's from a really nice company that actually does sort of ethical clothing, if that makes sense. So it's kind of everything's biodegradable. They give you a little QR code, so if you buy one and it gets worn to death, then you can get a new one. There's
you send it back and they recycle it.
Yeah. God, what else was there? There's all sorts of stuff. They plant trees and stuff. They have like little promotions.
The factory's entirely powered by green energy.
Yeah.
The water they put back into the water system after the dyeing process is completely drinkable, which is a massive thing, because the water that comes off of the dyeing process in a lot of factories is pretty toxic.
Yeah.
So they tick a lot of good boxes.
Yeah, it makes me feel a lot less guilty about making merch with them, and like I can make a nice, interesting product that is not like a huge pain in the butt to the environment, and they get to be nice things that I'd actually want to wear. So
and the print quality is really good as well. Like they wash really well, so it's not lacking in quality.
Yeah,
to make because it's an ethically made thing.
Yeah, for sure. I know what you mean.
Sometimes you think, oh, no, I don't know how that'll look. Like if is it lesser quality because
that kind of thing. Yes, it doesn't seem like it to me.
Frostmeat says that they can't wait for the Druid one.
Oh yeah.
Do you have the order in which you're doing them?
I have not actually. I'd be interested to hear what order everyone wants to do. I did Wizard first because I felt like Wizard always feels like the protagonist, and I feel like it felt natural to start with fighter, so I wanted to fight that urge. But I'd be interested to see what everyone wants first.
That's a good point. Steve Harrison says, will there be one for the DM class?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good idea, because it'd be nice to, if you're getting gifts for Christmas or something like that, get one for the whole, like everyone who's involved in the game would be a really nice idea. So yeah, why not? Let's do that. I don't really know what to put on that. What are your suggestions? Thinking, dice and books and things like that, but I've had a few suggestions at various points to do a like the DM as a Monster Monday, and it's like, do I just draw me? Like, what do I do for that?
Just have someone who's had all the joy kicked out of them.
No.
No, I'm sorry.
I know. Someone who's draw someone who's at their full-time job printing off things that they shouldn't be printing off on the
Yeah, Patreon poll to sort out the order.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good call. Maybe do that tomorrow.
Aldrin says, I'm either getting the Paladin shirt or the Rogue. I'm waiting on the Warlock one personally.
Oh yeah.
I've given up on all pretense of wanting to play anything other than Warlock now. Really. She says I'm actually playing a Sorcerer right now.
Yeah.
But Sorcerer, Warlock.
They're both charisma casters.
Colby says maybe you could. Oh no, sorry. Moonring says maybe you can milk this to get fresh water.
Oh no.
Colby says I love the idea of milking it. Perhaps some kind of mushroom milk like Minecraft. Joe says DM screen is just a DM design is just a dude crying behind a screen.
Yeah. I think we could give these mushrooms a nice glow. Actually, we could make this quite pretty again, having made it awful.
Richard says this reminds me of a fully evolved Pokemon. Is that just because they get uglier with each evolution?
Pretty much, they get less cute.
Yeah. Steve says, excuse me, eternal DM here. Suggestions would be tears, massive piles of adventures that never got used because they spent 3 games cheese shopping, stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, I think that's very fair.
Someone says, I leave this live stream for 10 minutes and there's a water bear mushroom. I love this channel.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Devin says, here's a suggestion. Maybe turn the shell idea into more mushrooms that work kind of like armour.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it could maybe absorb a lot of impact.
Yeah, although its milk would get far less tasty the fewer mushrooms it has.
How did we get to mushroom milk?
I don't know. It's just like our campaign, and I'm sorry for anyone who's watching with their party here. Our campaign, there was like at one point someone made a joke about spider milk, and it just became a thing that came up every single session until we had to veto it because it honestly it's just too easy for everything to run back into the idea of spider milk.
I missed the original joke, so I was just always like, what are we talking about? What is this?
There was no easy way to explain it. It was just horrible spider milk. Oh man, have I drawn things that aren't gross? Because I feel like all my monsters end up becoming gross. Is it me? Am I the gross one?
What's the fox one that?
Oh, the void fox.
Void fox is
Right.
about the only cute thing you've ever done, I think. If anyone else can remember.
Yeah.
There've been so many now.
The flump was kind of not cute, I guess, but like
It wasn't terrifyingly gross.
Yeah, like this.
This is a good suggestion from Miguel. This creature could have a vulnerability to radiant damage because it would damage the mushrooms. I think that's a really good call. Yeah.
And explains why it would want to live in the Underdark as well, which is a really good idea.
Colby thinks that this is definitively the best thing you've ever drawn.
I appreciate that. I don't agree, but I appreciate it.
And says, "What's happening? Mushroom milk?"
Yeah, oh, man, I keep forgetting that new people are joining in. Like, you can't just open with spider milk.
Oh, it's
mushroom
cream
milk.
of mushroom soup straight out of this beast.
I mean, you can have a reluctant.
It comes out warm, so bonus.
No,
you're getting blocked.
Go home. Go. You can I reluctantly hand over an inspiration point for that horrendous image. How dare you? Also, well done. Ugh.
Oh, okay. This is interesting. Aldrin asks, okay, Josh, dying to know, your style on camera has changed.
Okay.
You're now more chill and less jump cuts.
Mm-hmm.
Why the change?
So I did a lot more filming in person in the past. And I am very dyslexic, and reading a script is quite difficult for me. So I would say a few words and then read the script and forget what I'd written. So it was basically, my previous style was reading my script and forgetting things, and then having to use jump cuts to mash everything back together.
Yeah.
So
I also lived in a much noisier flat in the city,
true.
and now moved to the sticks.
Yeah.
And even though we're next to a railway line, it's still much quieter.
Yeah, so I can afford to just, speak a bit more naturally, a bit more freely, which is nice actually. It's what I'd intended to do. But yeah, so I have the luxury of being able to rely on scripts again, and yeah.
Steve Harrison says, so mushrooms are layers of chitin and protein. Chitin. Chitin. Oh, sorry guys.
Sorry,
so
I didn't mean to.
I've never seen that word written down before. So if we insist on being a milkable animal, why not have the milk being used as a sort of cement as it hardens into a chitinous material?
That sounds like a good and horrible call.
Oh, the centaur. The centaur apparently is not grim.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've done some nice ones.
And the fire giant.
Yes, I don't know if that was. Yeah, I will. I'll take it. You know, anything that makes it seem less awful, I'll take it. I feel really bad for Raptor Dio as well, who was like, "Oh, I just want you to draw some pigs," and they have a really cute pig, and now I've made a horrible monster pig, and I feel like when he watches this stream, he's not going to thank me for making like.
This is in no way a reference to Jellybean.
Yes, it's not a reference to Jellybean, who is very cute.
So delightful.
Yes.
I was so jealous when Josh was like, I've just been talking to someone who's got a pet pig.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, and I was. She's desperate to join me next time I chat to this person so that we can actually also view pigs. It's very, very cute. I think that might be my line work done. God, what have I made? Look at that. That's just despair worthy. Okay, let's.
Icarus is my bad for adding the tardigrade.
It's a good call. I've not had a chance to draw a tardigrade, and I was considering making tardigrades just like dire tardigrades a monster at some point. And now we've got this horror.
This reminds me of one of the monsters from the Hollow Earth in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh, I've not actually seen that, but that was quite recent, wasn't it? That's just come out. It's like during the lockdown type thing. Sounds good though. Sounds fun. I like a trashy monster flick.
Yorick asks, have you heard of the Marvel character the Sentry?
I have indeed. I love the Sentry. Controversial opinion.
Oh, was it controversial?
People didn't like the Sentry because he was a sort of parody of Superman, if that makes sense. And he was his own worst enemy because he was given this serum that basically meant that he had all the power that he could imagine he had. So his power is limited by his own confidence and belief and ideas. And so it turns out that he was schizophrenic and was literally his own worst enemy. And people didn't like him because he was kind of like a parody of Superman. He's a bit overpowered and retconned a few things, but I thought they were really interesting comics.
Gip says, okay, I'm back now. May I ask a random question and see if you have any thoughts on the new Fiddlesticks design from League of Legends? It'd be right up your alley if you haven't seen it.
I've never played League of Legends, so I don't know who Fiddlesticks is, but the name Fiddlesticks sounds very cute, so I'm down for Googling it after this, unless you can bring it up while you're...
Let me have a look for that for you.
Thank you.
Fiddlesticks sounds like a cute name.
It does. I get the idea that it's probably not going to be cute if it's, if we've just been talking about horrible monstrosities, but I appreciate it.
Oh. Yeah, I can see why they think that's something that you would be interested in.
Oh yeah, horrible scarecrow beast even. Yeah, I like the sound of that. That looks
quite like the face
cool.
on it. It's quite cool.
Very nice. I've seen a few bits of League of Legends art. I don't know what characters they usually apply to, but I've seen a few things and generally like what I see. It seems like I don't know if the game is fun or not. I used to play a lot of Heroes of the Storm, so that kind of isometric. I don't know what type of game you call that actually, but like Dota and things like that are all of the same persuasion of game.
Minring is asking, can you do Pink Dragon from Dragon Magazine 156?
Oh, definitely. I didn't know that was a thing. Absolutely. If you have a link to that in particular, please let me know, and I will definitely add that to my list for Dragon December this year.
Oh, Fiddlesticks talks with the voices of the people that he's killed.
Oh, even better.
I like that even more than what are the birds? The bird people that talk. They can only
Kinku.
say.
Yeah.
I like the idea that they can only speak with people they've killed. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. I like that a lot.
Frostmute says, while we're on comics, have you ever read the Animal Man series, the Grant Morrison run?
I've not, but I do like Grant Morrison, and I've heard really good things about it. Really adding to the character and kind of, making necessary fun of a weird concept of character, but turning it into something really good. I know that they kind of tied it into the whole Swamp Man thing and the idea of the green, the force of nature itself, being like almost like a sentient thing that certain heroes are responsible for, and I really like that idea. I think he's got like the red or something like that. It's just like the animals of the world. So yeah, seems like a good call. Grant Morrison's a very, very good writer, so I'm sure I would enjoy that. I actually sifted through a bunch of my old comics the other day, because when we moved house, like transferring everything, and it made me sort of reminisce about a lot of the old comics I used to really love, and kind of going through them and thinking about which ones I want to donate to charity and which ones I want to keep, and which ones had like particular sentimental value to me and things like that. So I kept a lot of my Century comics and things like that, and a lot of really, really good runs. I really, really enjoyed like the Ultimates and things like that. Invincible, when it was coming out, really big fan of Saga, that kind of stuff. So it's nice to go through and reminisce on some of these old things.
He says that's the only dragon I will not see being coloured brown to pink. I'm interested
really?
to know what do you see pink as? Do you know what I mean? Is it similar to another colour that you can see?
It's got to be linked to another colour, isn't it? So like some kind of green, maybe?
Goop says, I've always preferred the skill progression of Heroes of the Storm to that of the League, and I think that League has very good lore and music, but the game isn't as good.
Yeah, I've heard some of the League of Legends music, and they have a really high budget for that kind of thing, which is really nice. But yeah, I've lost a lot of faith in Blizzard recently, unfortunately. I used to be a huge Blizzard fanboy, and I mean, I still am really. In that same way that when you love a franchise, you keep up with all of it. But there's a lot of very good people jumping ship right now, and it's hard to maintain faith in it. But we'll see.
Frostmute says that they did not find the dragon itself, but the cover art for that dragon magazine is priceless.
Oh, okay.
So you need to check that. I think that was 156. I'll make a wee note of that.
Yes, please. That'd be lovely. Always nice to have some more of the missing dragons and some more dragon flavours. I've actually just finished doing my recording, my drawings, and my script and research and stuff for the why you should play the kind of deep dive thing on the Dragonborn. So I got to do a lot of stuff about them and speculating about what do you call it, how purple and yellow and orange Dragonborn might behave and things as well. So it'd be nice to include pink Dragonborn in there as well as one of the options.
Steve says, I donated to a crowdfunded Cthulhu Mythos book for D&D 5e last year and got it today. If you can lay your hands on it, take a look. There's some terrifying beasts in there.
I think is it Sandy Peterson? Because if it is, then I already own it. Anything 5e and anything Cthulhu based, I'm straight there. So yes, I absolutely love it. Especially if it's the one that I'm talking about, and we both know, then that would be fantastic coincidence. And yes, it is absolute great fun and truly twisted. One of our characters has been suffering hallucinations from that book whenever they get into a stressful situation, which is combat. And he has a belt of giant strength, so if he ends up attacking his allies or anything like that, it's really just a slaughter engine, and it's a double-edged sword.
It is that one that Steve's talking about.
Oh, excellent, yeah. Great stuff.
Olge says, don't get me started on poor Blizzard.
Yeah.
Icarus also says that they like that the big company that diverged from it and made a small community that's not heavily influenced by Activision, which I think I've heard you talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but I'm with you. I like it.
Goop says, same here. I held out for a long time, but when the director of Hearthstone left, I figured it was going downhill.
Yeah,
they're
for
all
sure.
jumping ship, aren't they?
Yeah. The the company that all the really great members of Blizzard have gone to is in the same town. So I think they're just literally jumping ship.
He says when they're looking at pink, it's similar to green in shades, but depending on the other colours around it, can influence their perception of it.
That's really interesting.
That's interesting.
That's cool. I think I know the type of. There's a special term for it, and I actually really like how that colour palette looks. There's like we can only see.
Because green pink's kind of your.
Yeah, green pink's pretty much my colour palette. Can you see what I do? Well, is it all just like one uniform colour? I literally the colour palette I brought up is largely greens and pinks, and now I'm thinking we should change that just so this is a bit more visible. Adjustments, hue and saturation. Let me just change what colours I've got on this colour palette. So that they're a bit less like that. What should we go for? Kind of like a main colour for this thing? Because tardigrades are quite pale. I'm guessing like, I don't know, I feel like a dark colour. Ooh, that could be quite nice and horrifying. Let's go for some of those and see what we get. I think if we go... Ooh. That's not what I meant to do. Wrong layer. I'm terrible for colouring on the wrong layers. There we go. And then I want to do... Because I think we can make these mushrooms look quite beautiful and have some like glittering things and make the fungi themselves glow maybe would be quite nice. So that he's not so, you know, horrifying to look at would be really lovely. I feel like, you know, having some nice flavours going on would be a really good idea here.
He says, I can see it, there's no need to change it.
Okay.
I'll probably see more of the blues and the tans.
Okay.
Holden says brown, the most unpleasant of colours.
Yes. Good.
You could just go wild and wacky with mantis shrimp colours.
Oh yeah, mantis shrimp colours are going to be fun. Goodness me.
Oh yeah, pale greens and black for the different kinds of mould. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is good. I like that. Let's definitely get some of that on the go. I really hate that these brush tool prompts come up every time I hover over them by accident. I've turned off the like, you know, do you want to be taught how these work? And it's like, no, I don't. I really don't want those coming up in my videos, but it seems to just want to show me anyway.
Yeah, it's punishing you for not learning your shortcuts.
I don't like shortcuts.
Learn them.
Right. Okay.
Oh yeah, going pale would make sense considering the cave setting. So that's sort of translucent, pale, never seen daylight sort of creature maybe.
Yeah, that seems.
Although I'm liking.
Yeah, I mean we can edit the colours later on. I'm just kind of going for contrast more than anything right now.
Oh, Max is here, finally home from work.
Ah, nice to see you.
Looks amazing already. Is it a tardigrade lobster? Yes.
Pretty much, yes.
With a pig thrown in as well.
Yeah.
The trotters and tail of a pig.
Yeah. We've made a monster.
Icarus says, oh dang, I just thought of next time's prompt. The bobbit worm is so freaky.
The bobbit worm is absolutely horrendous.
Is that D&D or really?
It's real life. I used it. You'll regret it. I used
It's not like the Lorena bobbit worm, is it?
I think that is actually where it got its name.
No.
I think it genuinely is. There's, in particular, watch videos of it.
No.
Yeah. So there's I can't remember the name of it is. There's Remerays, that's what it is. I use influence from that to create the Remerays video, which was just big old nightmare fuel.
Goop says you could use the mantis colours for the fungi, or perhaps as an accent for the more chitinous parts of the claw, such as the claw.
Sound of that, yeah.
These guys should be big softies. They look scary and horrifying to some people, but they're actually really gentle and appreciate the company of humanoids. I like that.
That sounds really nice.
Only being aggressive when they're threatened.
Yeah, let's definitely do that.
Maybe it can change colours, yeah.
Ooh, that's a really nice idea. Yeah, I like that.
Olsen says, "Oh God, my eyes," in relation to the bobbit worm.
Yeah, bobbit worm.
I'm just glad it's under the sea and that I cannot uncover one while sitting outside or anything.
Yeah, no, that's for the best.
You could also did I send you that Instagram link to the Russian account where they show you some really freaky under the sea?
That was a really good call. Like, it's an Instagram account. Unfortunately, it is all in Russian for the most part, so it's really hard to tell what's going on if you don't speak Russian, and I don't. But there's someone who kind of dredges up or finds creatures and displays them in their natural habitat under the ocean, and they are all
some of the worst things I've ever laid my eyes on.
Yeah, they are real manky looking creatures, and they are definitely going to be great inspiration for future Monster Mondays is all I'm going to say. So,
oh, I like this. Goop says they're gentle because of their vast intelligence that allows them to know every possible outcome of a conflict.
Ooh.
So that's cool. They do have plus 30.
That's what the mushroom milk could do. It could give you like a little precognitive thing, so you have like advantage on deck saves and increases your armor class for a while because you're like dodging out the way of things. Oh yes, I like this. This is a... Excuse me, Myrtle?
Hey, Myrtle.
What are you barking at? Thank you. Oh no, she's so angry.
Properly angry.
She's so angry. What's going on?
Oh, there's a bird outside.
Oh dear, there's a bird. Myrtle's natural enemy that she can never catch. She caught the remains of a pigeon once while we were in the park. It was a very, very dead pigeon, and she found it, and every time we walked past that bush in the park, it was like, this is the magical pigeon bush that I need to go back to every time in case there's another dead pigeon in there.
Yeah,
so
that was horrendous.
That was one of the worst things ever. And since then, she's really convinced that she can indeed catch pigeons, which is not fun. So yeah. What else have we got in the comments?
York says, I've seen fish live inside the butts of sea cucumbers. So
whatever you do in your own time, York, that's
bobbit worms are nothing.
Oh man, that's so grim.
Steve says, well, that's a novel experience. I just googled the bobbit worm and instantly became an insomniac. Thanks all. Yeah, their milk recreates the effect of the foresight spell for 1 minute. That's cool.
A really, really good call. I like that a lot. That's 100% put that in. Yes.
The precognitive milk could also merge their lore a bit with the Myconids, since the Myconids culture is based around the pursuit of the universal truth.
Yeah, I love that a lot. I like to include Myconid spores as a thing that my players can purchase from like the black market and so on to allow them to message one another whenever they want to. We played in a sci-fi campaign one time, and I gave everybody basically like cell phones, give or take. And since then, my players have really, or at least one player in particular, has been desperate for there to be some means of communication, like instant transmission, so they can go and explore places and be able to communicate with one another at all times whenever we play in any other setting. So Myconid spores are like a good way around that, because you can communicate psychically with another group of people who have all consumed these spores.
Moonring is asking if we have an aquarium. We don't.
We do not. I really wanted or we both kind of wanted an axolotl at one point, because I think they are wonderful, beautiful creatures. And they have very specific living requirements, but they're not much work outside of like just making sure that they are living in the right environment, you know. I think that seems like a really good call, but like at the same time, getting a pet is a lot of responsibility if you ever go on holiday and stuff, which is not something we do too often, but you know, it's good to think a lot about it before you
Myrtle's a big enough pain in the ass, really.
Yeah,
She's
exactly. Yeah.
kicks over the entire house.
Yeah.
I don't think she would react well to a secondary pet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I wouldn't, wouldn't want to inflict Myrtle on some other being.
Goop says perhaps milk also has an addictive quality. But if you aren't resistant to psychic damage, you can slowly become catatonic.
Ooh.
As your omniscient. I can't say it. Omniscience. It's how you.
Omniscience.
Omniscience. That's it. Blinds you to the present. Oh my god.
It's alright. It's I don't know words.
I have no excuse. I'm not dyslexic, right? I'm just not good at reading out loud.
Let's go for some more of this yellow colour.
Colby says, I like that. It's only consumed by seer myconids, whose role is being mostly catatonic, or by other myconids and humans in a pinch.
I like that. That's a really good call.
Minring, it says I've been working on a crystal red shrimp tank for the last couple of weeks.
Ooh,
that sounds cool.
That sounds lovely.
I'm gonna Google that. Crystal red shrimp. Oh, nice.
Let's have a look. What have we got?
They're pretty cute.
Oh, they're lovely. Little
creepy
Nemo
boys.
colours. I like that.
Mm.
Right, let's have a shift of some of these colours and see. Oh, that looks horrendous and fun. Right, orange and blue might be on the list of horrendous tardigrade colours. Pink and green's a little bit gross. Oh, that's quite nice as well with the teal and. Oh, but I do always go for that colour palette. It's so hard to resist. Right, no, we'll go for that because that's absolute nightmare fuel. Yeah, seems good. And then this grayscale colour. Saturation. Let's colourize this layer and find something equally horrendous to make this into our beautiful little tardigrade boy. Blue seems like a good call.
Colby says the red and blue is really nice.
Red and blue is pretty nice.
I don't know where you're at the moment because we're obviously what I see on my screen's behind where you actually are.
I went for a kind of like horrible bluey brown kind of combination. But I can go back to, we can have another little play around with the colours and see. Oh yeah, because I was planning on making this thing beautiful at one point.
Yeah, maybe something a little bit more friendly.
Yeah, okay, let's do a bit of
Maybe
that.
quite pale as well for that kind of not being out in the sunshine sort of look.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go for a bit of that's a bit more friendly. Oh no, that's what I'm doing, colorizing.
Oh, Yorick says I think there was some kind of piranha that had convergently evolved human-shaped teeth. I saw this.
Oh yes.
Was that last night we were looking at that? That's pretty freaky.
Oh, I quite like that.
Has any of you guys seen the there's like a certain kind of mite that bites onto a fish's tongue and takes over the tongue? If you've seen pictures of that,
that's the absolute bloody worst. Just increase the light here so I can get more of those colours on the claws visible. Yeah, this is a monster. Okay, so now I want to do some glowing effects. I'm going to make these mushrooms glow. I'm going to make that kind of like cast a bit of light in certain areas, and have some like glowing spores as well. And that'll pretty much round this creature off. So we could either, after that, draw another creature, or we can spend some time coming up with like some abilities for this thing, and you know, whatever you think there's kind of time for. But let me get some glowing on the go with this. In the meantime, people can come up with some abilities that we might want to put on the abilities list.
yeah, guys, if you've made any suggestions for abilities further back in the chat, the chat, it might be good to repost it again.
Yeah, definitely.
To remind us. It's kind of hard to scroll through everything and find the bits.
Yeah, I've had some really good suggestions. So let's go ahead and do a little faint glow here. I mean, this is going to look quite bright for a second. So.
Icarus says it could have bioluminescent saliva as well that's dripping onto its claws.
Ooh, very slimy.
Frostmeat says, yeah, they're gross. Those mites would be great freaky monsters for D&D.
Yeah.
It would be cute. No, why am I saying that? Absolutely not. It would be cool if you were fighting a big monster and then it opens its mouth and it's the little mite inside that's talking to you.
Oh yeah, that's really cool. Would they be controlling that monster, do you think, or would they be like?
Yeah, maybe like a sort of parasitic wasp situation where they're like actually piloting the whole.
That's horrendous.
Body from the tongue. That could be quite cool.
Yeah.
Kobe says, okay, this is kind of a wild idea, but what if the crab claws aren't a natural part of their bodies, but like something they take from crustaceans and grow into?
Ooh, that's grim. Well done.
Ace says, I think if there are spores with myconids, I would recommend having an ability where the spores attach to its allies and allows it to take damage instead, since it'll be tanky.
That's cool. That sounds very cool. I like the idea of this creature more and more.
Steve Harrison says it definitely looks like something that floats if it's not going to be waterborne.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it manage on land.
I can get that. I think it can float. Maybe kind of a bit like it. Oh, no, goodness me! I don't want Discord to update. Go away. This is the downside of I have all my things on like a menu bar on the bottom, and then every time I try and scroll, they're always in the way, and I just can't get used to it.
Icarus says jackdaws actually made the tongue mimic, which takes over a humanoid's tongue in their Pokemon D&D mashup.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Oh, Max has to leave.
Oh,
wedding preparations. Congrats, Max.
Congrats.
Have a good one, guys. Cool. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, yeah. Let's see what we can get.
Maybe it can call for backup by doing a series of snaps with its oversized claw. Maybe give it bubble breath attack to blind the enemy. I think that's a good call.
Yeah, that sounds very cool. Why is this doing that? I have. Ooh, okay, that's pretty cool. No, I was just wondering why the glow that I just started to draw was not really doing what I wanted it to. It's okay. You're all good.
Yeah, you figured it out.
Yeah, I think I figured it out. What colour should we make these things glow? I want the spores to be kind of like a little golden colour, maybe a little green. Seems like it would fit this thing quite well.
It could be that the tiny claw grabs the player and nibbles each time the player is restrained. The claw attack could stun, maybe. That's what it's for in real life on the shrimp.
That's a nice
pretty
idea.
Cool. Colby says, I'd love to see you do a collab with Jess Jackdaw. I know some folks who know Jess. If you want me to reach out,
I would absolutely love that. I think her channel's absolutely phenomenal. And
is she a artist as well?
Yeah, she's a very professional artist who does sort of D&D Pokemon mashups and other things like that. It's very very good style. I would thoroughly enjoy that. Yes, please. I've
been so busy looking at the chat that just when I looked over and saw the creature again, I was like, What have we done?
We've made a true horrific beast here.
Horrifying.
Colour dodge is kind of what we're looking for, and I will reduce that slightly. There we go, bit of bioluminescence going on, and then we'll make some nice little glowy spores to go underneath this. Not s'mores. I'll stick some of those just here. Nice. I think that seems like a good spore effect. Hopefully it doesn't look like dandruff. It's the last thing this thing needs.
Ace says, if you want to see some interesting art, look up art by artists who suffer migraines, which actually you do as well. So.
I do, yeah.
That could be interesting.
Yeah. Is that like the name of a channel? Or?
I just googled it and I didn't find that. If you've got a link to that, Ace, that'd be cool. Nizo says, what if a player breathes in the spores produced by this thing and they'll be impregnated as the baby develops inside them?
No.
Like the xenomorph alien.
No.
Oh my god.
No. Absolutely not. 100% go home. No. This is already horrendous enough. But thank you.
Oh, Colby says, I'm constantly singing your praises to other D&D other D&D tubers.
Thank you. That's very
That's
sweet.
really kind of you.
Now let's get some nice glow going.
Okay, what did tardigrades do so we can get some ideas? Aldrin's saying.
So tardigrades are just very survivable. They're microorganisms that are supposed to be like completely indestructible and agelessly immortal, and they have a really good time with that, basically.
Steve Harrison has called it a psilocybin tardibore, which
is
I like
that. Yeah, that's really nice. We might need to
Colby
put
says
that as the official name.
Still thinks that we should name the species after jelly bean somehow.
Yeah.
Like gel bin.
Oh yeah. Maybe we can come up with our own thing like psilocybin. That is like named after jelly bean somehow.
Devin says the colour of the claws is kind of messing with them.
That's fair. We can lighten those up and make them a bit.
You
bit
can
more in line.
use the colour selective option to just recolour the blues.
Yeah, that's a good call.
If you want, and then that'll keep the sort of beigey skin tones the same.
Let's do that.
Tardigrade's main thing is the survivability, so a lot of resistances. That's a really good point.
Maybe it's like a little companion animal or a big companion animal that you can take with you, and it produces spores that give you a certain resistance that it chooses, kind of thing.
Could be this thing is resistant to maybe like all things.
Yes, yeah. It has resistance to all forms of damage, but whether or not other things do. Right, let's see. Let's change these blues into something else. What are we getting?
Maybe psychic damage is only effective against it.
Oh, that's a good idea. I quite like the purples there, that's quite nice. Oh, green. No.
Oh, yeah. If you Google migraine art, you'll find the images. Yeah, they are quite trippy.
Really?
Jeez. Yikes. Okay.
Closer towards blue looks nice. Let's do an OK on that, and then go back in and see what cyan will do to change it. Here we go. That's what I like it. Oh, that's changing the mushrooms Ooh, I quite like that. With purple. Quite like that as well. Ooh, that's nice. I'm very indecisive when it comes to colours. No, you know what? No, we're good. We're good with that. Let's change the glow shroom slightly because I think that's no, that's nice. Overlay, light colour. No, colour dodge is the one. Okay. And then I'm just going to make that slightly dimmer. There you go. I quite like him. I mean, in a horrible sort of way. What do you think? I think that's pretty much us for him. I think that's quite grim and nice and horrible. So should we have a go at some of these suggestions that people are coming up with? Just type a few extra things in here, and we can go for.
So there's definitely the bubble attack.
Yeah.
So sort of bubble breath sort of thing.
Yeah. There's lots of talk of spores survivability. Spore survival, and there was another spore-based ability that was like, it's quite trippy. I seem to remember it being, or maybe it
was the milk that was trippy, I think.
Yeah. Because we were talking about myconids and their ability to communicate through spores, and then something else came up that was related to that.
Oh yes, if there are spores with myconids, I would recommend having an ability where spores attach to its allies and allows it to take damage instead.
Yeah,
Since
okay.
it'll be tanky.
Yeah, okay.
Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah. Attached to allies. Ooh. Oh, let me just get rid of that there.
And right, so resistant to a lot of things.
Yeah. Everything.
Oh, the foresight milk.
That's what it was.
Yes,
Yeah.
there we
Yeah. God, this is like writing D&D notes when you end up just saying like sexy goblin.
Okay, Bobby's given us a summary. Bubble, ranged attack. Spore, I think that's a typo. Spore. Oh, area of effect. No, I got there, guys. Lots of resistances. Stasis ability. Foresight milk. And take damage for allies.
I like that.
Oh, Devon says grapple and poison, area of attack.
Okay. Oh yes, yeah. Let's see.
Oh, and it has one weakness. Friends.
Oh, cute. I like that a lot. I think that's really good.
Cool.
I'm pleased with that. I'm happy to write up those stats, and I can stick those on D&D Beyond as soon as. What do you reckon? How long have we been streaming for?
An hour and a half.
Yeah, I mean that could be.
What do you think, guys? Do you want to do maybe a slightly quicker one, like another?
Yeah, I mean
another one, or people? Do you guys have time for that?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what time of day it is where you guys are, because we could do a little bit of like sketching of something else. If there's something else you want to see me draw right now, there's maybe not enough time to come up with a whole other creature, but we could do like if anyone wants help drawing stuff, or if there's any like sketch work that you want to see.
lightning round. Yes.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Keen for another one.
Cool.
Winged gnome.
Okay. Hang on here. Let me get a new.
Should we swap out some of the monster parts?
Yeah. Hang on here. Let me just save this.
Just hide those layers and start again.
Yeah. Hang on. How am I going to do this?
You've just asked us if we want more content or not, and the answer is always yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, in that case, I'm going to go and get another tin of juice. Do you want a drink?
I would love a tin of juice, please. That sounds lovely. So let's do. Oh, someone came up with a really good name for this, wasn't it? It was like psilocybin tardigrade or something. Either way, that I'll look through the comments again and we'll call it that in D&D Beyond. As it is, I'm going to call it Shroom Piglet for now, which is not you, Myrtle, even though you're looking at me very, very sad right now. Yeah, okay. And then I will get rid of all of these layers and G that into Piglet. We can make them invisible and we can get rid of the suggestions and then we can just kind of go for another one. Hell yeah, thank you very much.
There you go.
Yes. This is not sponsored by Pepsi, just needing some caffeine. Great one, I love that. That was a really fun creature. Should we go again with
Okay, there are some suggestions here. Sketch work. Are there characters you've made lots of drafts of?
Okay.
Could you do a weapon real quick?
I could do a weapon.
What do you want to draw?
My goodness.
Can Aldrin get a cup of tea, please?
Yes, go make yourself a cup of tea, please.
Yeah, items are faster to do, I would think.
Yeah.
A shroom piglet. It's now canon.
Yeah.
Last time we made an item, we came up with a meat sword.
Yeah.
What do you fancy doing? The people seem to be
Yeah, I know. This is the problem. You guys are. I mean, you make horrible monsters. Don't get me wrong, and I'm disappointed in all of you. But you are also a very, very kind group, and will often just say, "Do whatever you want to do." And
well, Steve Harrison says eyes. I'm hopeless at drawing eyes, so any tips would help.
Can totally draw eyes. That's a real handy suggestion.
And, devilry with a wizard hat.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. That sounds real good. So, Steve Harrison. So eyes. Stop me if I'm being pedantic or anything like that, because again, teaching is not my forte, so I don't know what I'm. If I'm saying stuff that you already know. But when drawing an eye, just remember that an eye is an eyeball. Okay, and it's again, this is going to sound really dumb, but it helped me draw a lot. So a lot of the time when you're looking at people who are drawing characterized illustrations and things like that, they will draw eyes in a very specific way, that kind of thing, and they'll whatever. But in order to draw in a stylized way, you also have to know the fundamentals, and the fundamentals are anatomy. So always just start with a sphere first. And then if you're drawing an eye, you always have a little tear duct, a tiny little dot next to it, basically. This little bit right here. And from there, you can draw kind of like a lemon shape that's stretching over that. And the idea is that it only looks like a lemon because these would be two stretched bits of fabric like this that are going over that eye, but the eye itself is a sphere. So it gets distorted by the shape of this sphere. And attaches to this little tear duct. So you end up with this little lemon shape that joins at the other end, just there. Your iris will fit somewhere within that and usually takes up the majority of that space, but not entirely. And that's just a disc on top of that sphere. And then within that is another smaller disc. Now one little secret weapon that I've always done, and you'll notice this now every time you see one of my drawings, is that you can put a lot of life into an eye by taking a chunk out of the pupil as if there is a kind of glint in the eye. So whereas we all know that a pupil is it's not a black spot, it's a hole that light goes into. If you put a tiny little glint on the corner of that by cutting out a little chunk, a bit like an Apple logo, that instantly has quite a lot more life to it. And we're very good at seeing forms that we recognize. The human brain is fantastic at recognizing shapes, and faces is something that we look at faces all the time, so we're naturally going to be really aware of any changes to it and things that make them look lifeless. You can draw a little tear line, which is just following the exact same line as this little lemon that you drew earlier on, and then you have to draw bags, which are the eyelids on either side of this, because otherwise you have this weird like anime manga style, like you just have a plate that represents an eye stuck to someone's face. So if you start about here, about the same distance from the bottom of the tear duct that you put to the bottom of the lid there, and follow this sphere line round. That's the bottom lid, and then do the same thing on the top, and you'll find that that's like quite a convincing eye. One thing that you'll want to do after that is to maybe draw a little line here, or like the hint of a little line, which would be crow's feet, because the nose would be on this side. And you don't always have to do these things, but adding more wrinkles and lines, like the temptation is when you're trying to make something beautiful or trying to make someone young or whatever, is to avoid doing lines, and it's really these lines and wrinkles and imperfections that make anything look even remotely believable and relatable, because skin has a texture to it, and otherwise it looks like an action figure. So yeah, that's basically how I go about drawing an eye. Eyelashes are not necessarily essential for everyone's drawing. Only if you're really close up should you be drawing eyelashes, and they follow this kind of like what would you call that, like a slumped U, I guess. Hair always has a direction from its base to its follicle, you just do the same sort of thing going in this direction as well, and that's roughly how you draw an eye, basically.
There we go.
And a wizard's hat. I'm assuming you're not talking about Disney wizard's hat, because then you're just done. You've drawn a cone, done. But
I think it was a oh my goodness, right? The chat went weird while you were talking.
Oh god, right.
So we were talking about a devilry with a wizard's hat, a wizard hat with eyes, a knife with eyes, eye knife. What about a knife that is an eye?
Uh-huh. Okay, I see it as a theme.
Alright. York says, how about a 6-character fan art challenge? Don't know if we've got time for 6 characters tonight.
Yep.
Aldrin and Steve are saying thank you for the detail that you went into with the eyes there.
Cheers.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, wizard's hat, I guess. If someone said that they wanted to have help drawing a wizard's hat, and I guess let me try and draw one first, and then I'll see how I would deconstruct it. Because I would do something along these lines for a Gandalf hat. Is kind of what I imagine. So, how did I go about that? So, that is, I guess, like a pinky finger. You draw a pinky finger to start off with, so just a little nub, and maybe not quite so. You're looking at it from an angle, so like a cone, I guess, like a cone with the top cut off. At some point in wizards' hats, I don't know why this happens, but they get more wizardy the more wrinkly and old they are. And the support at the top of this hat, it's very clear that they were built with a cone in mind, right? But at some point, they're old and they've wrinkled and they've flopped over to one side. So you do that by moving this point over, like you just cut it out and you just rotate it slightly. And then you can add a few little, what are called chicken feet in the drawing world, which are how you do these wrinkles. And that basically is wherever there's movement in a piece of fabric, you draw either 1, 2, or 3 little lines that represent a fold, and that's why they're called chicken feet, because they look a little bit like chicken feet. So yeah, you have this little hat here. You flop the cone over on one side, and you have a few little chicken feet. At the bottom here you have the rim of the hat, and it's important to remember that this is like a cone attached to a brim. So you have your kind of Disney wizard hat here, your Fantasia hat, and then you can just widen that same circle, right? Already you're getting to like quite a good witch's hat, but to make it look more wizardy and more kind of like well loved and so on, just imagine how this bit of leather or this bit of fabric might have been used. So for a start, it's likely to have been curled up intentionally. People like a brim on their hat that's all curled up. And then you can also fold it a little bit so it has a bit more life in here. Here you can see that like the head would poke out here. But all I've done there is, rather than having this kind of flat disc, I've used a bit more of a kind of figure of 8 to show the brim. So the head would come out here, essentially. So that's how I would go about drawing a wizard's hat. I hope that was fairly explanatory.
There we go. Have you turned, this is just from my head, not from the chat, have you turned Myrtle into a creature yet?
So I drew a nilbog and I inspired it by Myrtle, but it didn't look super Myrtle-y when I was doing it. I could do a little Myrtle creature briefly. I feel like Myrtle would be her own kind of monster. I don't know. Like there's been a lot of call, mostly from I don't know if it's like one person in particular, but there's been a lot of call for a Myrtle Monster Monday. And I'm trying to draw her little.
Icarus has to go and have some sleep. So thank you very much for joining us, Icarus.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, you drew a massive Myrtle recently, actually, didn't you?
Oh yes, I did. Yeah, I did draw a massive Myrtle recently.
Oh, it was Strawtober. Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, is there anything else anyone wants to see, or should we wrap it up there?
Guys, if you've got any more suggestions, give us a shout. I'm just going to say Devil Ray every time I see that word now.
Yeah.
A Myrtle Devil Ray hybrid.
I mean, what does a Devil Ray look like when it's at home? You just want me to draw a Devil Ray really bad, right?
Do you want a spelling for the...
No, that's all right. I'll just Google Devil Ray.
Alright, so it's a homebrew 4-armed giant based around 4 elements.
Oh god.
Or how to draw a stingray.
Okay. I can show you how to draw a stingray.
What comes to mind when I mention Cosmoth?
Carl Sagan.
I think that I'm meaning a more artistic interpretation. You do you, Josh.
So a stingray, you just draw a diamond, and you have a little tail. It's very, very thin. You just draw a set of, you can draw like a little toilet roll tube kind of here that you exaggerate to be the eyes, and you have a little eye just here, and you can kind of add a little snout there. It just becomes a tiny impression. It's not much of anything. You're actually going to like erase these lines when you come to doing the line work.
Great. Bye, Aldrin.
Nice to see you all.
Enjoy your
Thank
dinner.
you so much for joining us. You can use this body as a little base here. You add a little lump and another little lump. And then you really accentuate the point here. They have quite pointed faces. And you can show a little bit of dimension to this flipper. have another little point. They have a tiny little fin at the back. And that's it. That's how you draw a little ray.
Yeah. Ace says hands are my worst enemy. Can you do that quick?
Hands, yeah,
Can
totally.
you do hands quickly?
Yeah, this will be the final
I need
thing.
to watch this. I don't know how to do hands.
No worries. Okay, so the important thing with hands is to never draw hands just randomly floating around in the air. Always start with a wrist so that you know roughly what way it's facing, whether it's facing up or facing down. Okay, I'll draw a hand facing up and a hand facing down because they're both super different. But all you need to do at this point is carry on that same tube that you've started and draw a little stump. Okay, this little stump can be pretty much any size, but that's just to let you know roughly where a hand is. I'm going to draw a hand facing down to start off with. You draw a little bubble on the corner here, and that's going to be the whole muscular section of the thumb. And then just think of a series of straws with connective parts. Okay, so you're going to draw a little bit of thumb here and another little nub here, and that's the end of a thumb. Hands have knuckles and you have 5 fingers, so you have 4 individual fingers and 1 thumb. So you can draw 4 little dots going on the top of this little, I guess, like piece of bread that you've drawn here at the end of the wrist. And you just draw a few strings like a guitar, starting at the very top of these knuckles and going back towards the wrist part. And just here, like it's been cut completely off, and there's now like a complete platform. You see, that's where you start your finger. So you can start a little circle, draw a little straw, draw a little circle in there so that you have full range of movement, draw another little tube, draw another little circle, and then draw a final little nub. And then you've got your first finger, and then you repeat that for the other fingers. And you can skip a step if you've drawn a lot of hands before. The middle finger is always the longest, and then it goes shorter and shorter and shorter, and then you've got a hand. Now drawing a hand from the other side is where it gets a little bit tough, because there's all these wrinkles and it can look really intimidating. So again, secret tip, always start with the wrist so that you're not worried about, you know, the trajectory of the hand. And I like to draw a little ball here this time because I can't see the inside of that, you know, connective area, and that just means that your hand can move wherever you want it to. So now you draw your little loaf of bread again, your little doof of a hand. You draw that same sphere, but this time you're going to move the sphere slightly into the center because that's going to show you where the contours of the hand go. And then you're just going to do the same process. So you're going to draw a little dot at the end. You're going to draw another little straw, another little sphere, and then you're going to draw your little nub to finish the thumb off. And then all you do here is, so if you look at your hand and you try and move some of the fingers independently, you'll notice that some of the fingers are kind of tied together realistically. So this finger has a lot of free range of movement, but these 2 central fingers are kind of conjoined, almost like the legs of a kangaroo. Like they don't really want to move without the other one. And then the final one is kind of connected to this finger here. So what I like to do is to draw a little nub here, a little connective bit of flesh, just like we did with the thumb. And then I draw a little block, a little oblong going here where the rest of the fingers sit. And then I'll just do my knuckle technique again. So I draw the 4 knuckles, but this time we're not going to draw the connective lines going down to the wrist because we're on the other side of the hand. We don't need to see the things that are connected to those knuckles. And you're just going to do the same thing that you did on the other drawing of the hand there. So you're going to draw a little straw, you're going to draw a little ball, you're going to draw a little straw, you're going to draw a little ball, and then have a nub. And then draw a straw, a little ball, and a nub. Straw, ball, nub. Straw, ball, nub. And then you can start to outline that, but to draw the contours of the inside of the hand, the only thing you really need to do there is to make a similar size sphere, more like an egg shape on the other side of this piece of flesh, because there's 2 soft bits of the hand here that are, you know, well, yeah, they're the soft kind of meaty bits of your hand, and there's kind of like this area here becomes a bit of an indent. So when you're drawing the hand after this point, you can start by making an outline at the bottom of this little fleshy bit, start to curve that little area here, this little rectangle that you made, and make a really defined part of this meaty bit of the thumb, and then you can just connect everything up, and you've got a really well functioning hand. One little thing as well that I like to do is at the base of this meaty part of the thumb, there's a tendon that looks really gross that you sometimes get. Not everyone has one. It's an evolutionary thing that the majority of the population have these. And it's really interesting because, like, if you actually have a tendon injury elsewhere in your body, if you have one of these, this is the first thing that they'll take out and use elsewhere in your body because it's totally superfluous, it's not needed whatsoever, but it is something the majority of the population have. And that shows that the hand is basically doing work. It just shows that the thumb is kind of doing something. It always pops out whenever the thumb is in action. And for some reason, it just seems to really humanize hands when you include that. So at the base of this bit of flesh, I tend to move a line straight to the center of this wrist and draw a single line or two lines down. And then for some reason, that just ends up looking more like a wrist. So yeah, and that's how I draw hands, basically.
I don't have that tendon.
Do you not?
No.
Oh, well.
A tip that I got at art school way back was that I kept making, and a lot of beginners make hands really small.
Oh, yeah.
So the hand size should be about the size of your character's face.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So when you're drawing the heads, use that as a reference for the hand size as well, and then like you won't end up with like tiny little creepy baby hands.
I do the opposite now, but then that's the upside of working digitally, that you can just scale something that you've been working on. But
yeah, go.
I think that'll do us for tonight, guys. So thank you so much for joining us, and I'll make sure to stat up the psilocybin piglet and
yeah, what was it?
shroom piglet.
Yeah, shroom boar, I think it was.
Yeah, there was some good names thrown around, but I'll make sure to stat it up and post it either tomorrow or the next day. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you had a lovely stream. I certainly did. And until next month, let me know what you want to cover next time in the comments, and I will put that to my patrons over on Patreon to have a vote on. And yeah, thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for your support. Until next time, happy monster hunting and good evening.
Good night.